On August 20th in Xi'an, Shaanxi province, an elderly man fell into a corridor and was discovered by a woman who took him to hospital. However, upon arrival, the man's spouse confronted the woman, grabbing her by the collar, and demanded she pay for all the medical expenses while accusing her of robbery. The woman, feeling aggrieved and speechless, tried to explain her situation in vain. She was reduced to tears, saying, "Isn't this ridiculous? Do you find this funny? Being a good person is impossible now. Everyone should stop trying to be a good person. I went out of my way to take this man to the hospital, and now I'm being accused of extortion and physically assaulted. This world has no justice left. You can't even do a good deed without being punished. I will never try to help anyone again." According to insiders, the woman who assisted the elderly man works in property management. The elderly man's family believed that since the fall occurred in the corridor, that property management should fully cover the medical expenses. The incident quickly ignited discussions on social media, with netizens expressing anger and disappointment. Many highlighted how such events instill a fear of helping others, causing people to worry about unfair treatment and financial loss. Some argued that the traditional virtue of helping others was being eroded, with people becoming reluctant to assist out of fear of having their good intentions backfire. In recent years, the question of whether one should assist a fallen elderly person has garnered significant attention in Chinese society. Many become hesitant when asked whether they would help. A survey by the China Youth Daily Social Survey Center, involving 139,010 respondents, revealed that 55.6% would choose to walk away, 23.4% would gather evidence or find witnesses before helping, 12.6% would call emergency and wait, and only 5% would unhesitatingly offer assistance. Clearly, the notion that one should not help a fallen elderly person has become a widely recognized cautionary principle in China, known to people of all ages. In May 2023, a group of Chinese tourists in Japan witnessed an elderly person falling on the street. Passers-by and convenience store employees went to assist, but a child in the Chinese tourist group exclaimed, "Don't help! He might be faking it! Don't help!" This video sparked heated discussions on Chinese social media platforms, with comments from netizens like, "This country is hopeless. It shows how dangerous our society has become, and it's even coming from a child." Many Japanese viewers were also shocked by the child's comment, while some also questioned why helping a fallen elderly person would be discouraged. Many point to the Peng Yu case from 18 years ago as a turning point. On November 20th, 2006, in Nanjing, Jiangsu province, Xu Shoulan, an elderly woman, fell while rushing for a bus. Peng Yu helped her and took her to the hospital, paying about 40,000 yuan, approximately $5,600 in medical fees. Xu's family later claimed that Peng had hit her and sued him for over 130,000 yuan, about $18,200. The Nanjing Gulou District Court ruled that Peng was likely to have collided with Xu and ordered him to pay 40% of the damages, totaling 45,876 yuan, about $6,438. Although Peng appealed and the case was settled out of court, he ultimately paid 10,000 yuan, about $1,400. The case attracted nationwide attention, particularly due to Judge Wang Hao's questioning of Peng Yu during the verdict. "If you didn't cause the accident, why did you help?" This directly challenged the natural inclination to assist others and sparked significant public outrage. Many internet users criticized the Peng Yu case verdict as a regression of moral values in China by 50 years. Many individuals seeking unjust gains have pretended to be injured and blamed those who offered to help. Consequently, there has been a sharp increase in cases of no assistance, with many accident victims left isolated and dying on the streets, and instances of heroism have become increasingly rare. Tragically, the Peng Yu case is not an isolated incident. Similar cases have continued to occur in China. On August 12, 2024, in Nancheng, Fuzhou, a 17-year-old named Meng saw an elderly person fall while riding his bike. He immediately stopped to help the elderly person up, contacted the elderly person's family, and waited with them until their relatives arrived. However, the situation took an unexpected turn. When the elderly person's family arrived, they accused Meng of hitting the elderly person with his bike and demanded medical expenses. Despite Meng's explanations, the family remained unconvinced and insisted Meng take the elderly person to the hospital. Meng, who was then assaulted and falsely accused, had no choice but to call the police. Ultimately, the police reviewed nearby surveillance footage and cleared Meng of any wrongdoing. In August 2024, a woman in her 60s fell from her bike after hitting a stone on the roadside. A passing delivery worker immediately rushed to help her. She not only failed to thank the delivery worker, but also accused him of hitting her and his tricycle and demanded compensation.
I was cycling from here and he was driving very fast. He bumped into me and knocked me down. I broke my leg and fractured it.
Which part of his vehicle hit you?
Somewhere in the middle towards the back. When the police arrived, the elderly woman immediately accused the delivery worker, claiming that his tricycle was moving at high speed and showed a complete disregard for other safety. She also emphasized her age, asserting that she would never lie, and questioned why the driver would have turned back to help her if he hadn't been the one to knock her down. Subsequent review of surveillance footage revealed that the delivery vehicle had not made any contact with the elderly woman and was a considerable distance away when she fell, confirming the worker's innocence. Following the release of the footage, netizens overwhelmingly criticized the elderly woman. Some commented that without the video evidence, the delivery worker would have been wronged. They suggested that future cases of false accusations should result in immediate detention rather than mere criticism, which they believe is insufficient. Others insisted that we have to protect ourselves. Don't donate money, don't give blood, and don't help others. In May of this year, a bus driver in Shanghai found himself accused of wrongdoing after he helped an old man who had fallen. On May 26, at a bus stop for Route 14 in Shanghai, the bus driver assisted the elderly man and then prepared to resume driving. However, after getting up, the man accused the driver of causing his fall and demanded compensation.
The elderly person fell after getting off the bus at their stop. The driver was about to start driving again when he noticed the elderly person through the rearview mirror. The driver then stopped the bus and got out to help the elderly person. As a result, the elderly person started to accuse the driver falsely and wouldn't let him leave.
A witness who filmed the incident confirmed that the old man fell after getting off the bus, and the driver had stopped to help upon seeing her in the rearview mirror. Several other passengers also supported the driver's account, confirming that he acted out of kindness. Despite this, the old man continued to obstruct the bus and refused to let the bus driver leave until the police arrived. The next day, Zhupai News reported that the bus company's investigation found no fault with the driver. Staff from the Jiaxing Road Police Station in Hangkou District confirmed that the old man had returned home. In response, netizens commented, "Who is responsible for the decline in social morality?" And, "If false accusers are not punished, the social atmosphere will never improve. Just issuing criticisms is not enough. Those who make false accusations should face consequences." On the night of May 14th, a similar incident occurred in Nanjing, Jiangsu Province. Near Yuhuatai, an elderly man fell off his bike while drunk and was bleeding profusely. Despite there being many bystanders, no one dared to help. A concerned passerby named Yang stopped his car, helped the man, and called an ambulance and the police. To avoid misunderstandings, Yang recorded the incident. When the ambulance arrived, it was discovered that the elderly man was driving under the influence with a blood alcohol content of 0.21. Although Yang was trying to do a good deed, the man's son arrived and falsely accused Yang of hitting his father, demanding proof of innocence. Yang showed the video, but the son insisted it was incomplete and questioned the clarity of the footage. The son also demanded that Yang accompany his father to the hospital and cover medical expenses. Frustrated, Yang exclaimed,
"You're ruining our country. You're heartless. There are witnesses here, and you still won't let me leave or stop demanding money. How can you blame me?"
An onlooker advised Yang, "Remember this experience. Next time, even if someone falls and dies, don't help them." Eventually, the police allowed Yang to leave. However, he later reported that no one tried to contact him or apologize to him. In recent years, more and more similar incidents have been reported, reflecting a growing trend. These cases highlight the broader issue of the difficulty of being a good person in China. Problems also extend to other areas, such as rescuing drowning victims and becoming a victim of fraud, or lending money to friends who then disappear. Netizens are questioning why society has become indifferent and who is responsible for this moral decline. Some lamented, achieving a society where people are afraid to help even the elderly is an extremely daunting task. Almost no other nation has reached this point, but we have, despite our long history of 5,000 years. What has caused this outcome? In response to these concerns, some attribute the problem to systemic issues within China. Surveys indicate that the reimbursement rate for medical insurance for the elderly in China is very low. This places a significant financial burden on individuals and their families, which may lead to attempts to shift responsibility. If medical coverage could alleviate this burden, there might be less incentive to blame others. However, experts also point to a decline in moral standards as a fundamental cause. Human behavior is influenced by two main factors: internal moral conscience and external legal constraints. Yet the essence of law, fairness, and justice stems from morality. Good behavior is the result of adherence to moral principles, while bad behavior results from moral failings. The decline in individual, societal, and national morality contributes to various social issues. Reflecting on recent news, whether it's corrupt officials embezzling billions, schools exploiting students by manipulating parents, treating education as a business, or hospitals overcharging patients through unnecessary treatments and accepting bribes while turning healthcare into a profit-driven industry, all these issues stem from a serious moral decline. Given the significance of morality, what is its source? Experts believe it lies in the belief in the divine. Historians point out that in ancient Chinese society, faith in the divine, reverence for gods, offerings, worship, and spiritual cultivation were the norm and widely accepted. This extended across all social classes, whether high-ranking officials or common people, whether official historical records or popular folklore. Even in well-known classics such as the four great classical novels, the people of those times and their words and actions were deeply rooted in a divine culture, a tradition that spanned 5,000 years. In other words, belief in the divine was inherent to the Chinese people, that is, until the arrival of the Chinese Communist Party. An expert recalled seeing a unique world map in a magazine a few years ago. The map, released by an international organization studying global religious beliefs, used different shades to indicate the level of faith in each country. Strikingly, the map showed that China had the lowest level of faith worldwide, with only faint colors representing regions like Xinjiang and Tibet. The rest of China was depicted as being a faith vacuum. Since the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, came to power, it has aggressively instilled atheism in the population, with campaigns involving the destruction of temples, smashing of Buddhist statues, burning of scriptures, persecution of monks, and suppression of religions. Violent crackdowns and brainwashing have severed the connection between the Chinese people and their historical ties to deities, Buddhism, and nature. From childhood through education and into the workplace, the dominant teachings and influences have been atheism and the idea that man can conquer nature. In essence, the atheist cultural environment under CCP rule has turned the Chinese people into non-believers. Anyone born into this environment finds their religious freedom taken away by the party. Although the CCP allows people to believe in religion, it does not allow for people's minds to remain idle. Instead, it encourages belief in Marxist communism, elevating Marx, the earthly representation of the communist ideology, to a godlike status. Party members and even non-members are urged to revere Marx in order to cement the regime's authoritarian rule and spread its twisted ideology, which has brought chaos to China. However, in today's China, many people prioritize self-preservation over morality and avoid getting involved in disputes. Some mothers even tell their children to keep a distance and rather call the police if they see an elderly person fall, fearing that their families cannot afford the financial risk of helping others. This advice is heartbreaking but hard to argue against. Additionally, Yu Zhejun, a lecturer at Fudan University's philosophy department, pointed out that in cases where young people assist the elderly, improper legal rulings could create generational conflict. Society operates in a symbiotic relationship, and if such incidents increase, individuals may become more isolated, relying solely on themselves. In extreme cases, this could lead to antisocial behavior. Society must pay attention to the subtle impact of these cases on young people. If this continues in a few decades, the traditional moral value of caring for the elderly as if they were one's own may no longer be upheld.